The Politics podcast is brought to you, as always, by Patreon.com. Did I say politics again? Did I not say the Justin Robert Young Show? I screwed it up. Again. All right. So here's, okay. It's not politics. I did it again. I just do that show more than I do this show when I'm doing the exact same action. So let me go ahead and switch it up. We're just going to go back. For you watching the video versions, the audio version, whatever, you're just going to have to deal with stew with my own frustration with myself that I can't get it again. But I'm resetting the video version. Here it goes. The Justin Robert Young Show is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JuRY. Support this show if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't. It's fine. I mean, what more can I say? I don't know. Like, you guys are awesome sauce with sweetheart crumbles. There's really not a whole lot that I can say anymore other than thank you so much for supporting me. And I really, really, really hope that I can continue to make you guys proud enough to want to kick something in to patreon.com/JuRY. But enough of talking about how you do the show. What do you say? We just go ahead and do the damn thing.
Ugly, and I said, girl, ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine. You're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
Welcome everybody to the Justin Robert Young Show. My name is Justin Robert Young, man. It ain't just a clever name for the podcast. It's also the name that my mom gave me when I burst forth from her into the world at large. Hi everybody. I'm gonna confess something. These are my confessions. I gotta confess that for whatever reason, and I'm hoping that this wears off, that maybe it was just the schedule, although I have the suspicion that with the holidays coming up, and I got more travel coming up, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. But right now, for whatever reason, recording this on a Sunday night is just, I think, at the low end of my energy. That my energy is right now ramped up to be weekday, and then on the weekends, low he rests. And so these last few episodes, I've been trying to channel his energy. And I'm gonna try to do my best. I feel it returning to me already. I think in abstract, like, you ever notice, oh my God, I'm literally turning into Andy Rooney. Oh my God. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just did the Andy Rooney bit. And I don't know what's sadder, that I'm turning into Andy Rooney. I show up on it's the last thing you see on Sunday night, and I just started a segment with, did you ever notice? I don't even know if these people, who knows who Andy Rooney is? I don't even know if half you people know who Andy Rooney is. And what about doorstops? Oh, my God. He's dead. Yes. Okay. A lot of people. It's better that you know who Andy Rooney is. It's better that you know who he is than not know who he is. And therefore, I know I'm also aging into an unbearable hack. And R.I.P. Andy, man. Like, he's a broadcasting legend. I don't know why I'm taking out my self-loathing on the memory of Andy Rooney. But that also that I am aging into obsolescence. This is what happens. I am past the point wherein my opinions are cultural tastemakers, right? And now I'm just, although I just realized now that I can't really do my Andy Rooney and my John Stossel are very close. You ever notice? Or maybe it's another one of my dumb voices. Now you a high voice like this. This is Steve McTillituder. My Andy Rooney's my Steve McTillituder. Do you ever notice? All right. I don't even know what I was going to say, by the way. I think I was going to say that, has it ever come to your attention? Has it ever come to your attention that sometimes thinking about doing something is far worse than actually doing it? And so I've been thinking since I was done with Weird Things today, which usually starts at 2 and wraps anywhere between 4, 4:15, 4:30. Like, okay, gotta prep for JuRY, gotta do JuRY, gotta muster up enough energy to do JuRY. What am I going to talk about? And the thing is, I'm doing so many shows now that it's like, man, I'm carving the bone. I don't know if there's a lot that happens in my life that I don't talk about. I'm using every piece of the buffalo. But I got something for you. Because I had a conversation. I don't know if it's out yet. But I had a conversation with Garrett Weinzierl. Open Bayou. Now people are just calling out Andy Rooney bits. Because now I'm just the Andy Rooney cover band. Open Bayou just yelling in the chat room, please do a bit about how nobody sends a letter. You ever notice that nobody sends a letter? We used to go with great trepidation to the mailbox and look for who could possibly have written us something. Not anymore. Now everybody just emails and text messages. Beep, bop, boop, bop, beep. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. God, I don't even know if I could do an Andy Rooney bit. Like, to be honest, I didn't watch that much Andy Rooney. Like, every once in a while, I'd stay on 60 Minutes after football, and I'd watch that. But, I knew enough to know that. Here's what I found fascinating about Andy Rooney. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, but we're just going to stick on Andy Rooney for right now. I always imagined, even as a kid, that his director, the guy who shot his stuff, had to either similarly be 90 years old or had the most awkward conversations with him. Because if you've never seen an Andy Rooney bit, he would do these slice of life, it would basically be the version of a lifestyle column or something, but very folksy and very stop to notice that the world's changed, like that kind of stuff. But I remember once, or whenever just watching, all the times that I did watch Andy Rooney bits, is that he would do a lot of very, very, very expository B-roll. So the majority of the bit would be him face up to camera, right? But let's say he would do something about how coats don't have underliners anymore, right? That the material on the front of the coat is the material on the inside of the coat, and he wants to compare and contrast it to a bygone era where there used to be liners on the inside of your coats. He would show in B-roll him getting up from his chair, walking over to his coat rack, pulling out his coat, and just kind of looking at it. To, I guess, visually sort of illustrate whatever he was doing. For whatever reason, I remember him walking in and out of doors a lot. So he would mention, like you go to the other room, and next thing you know, you're seeing a blank. But he would, like, show himself walking. And I can just, this was when I guess I was in middle school, so I was doing television and radio stuff. I was learning the basics of it in middle school. And so I just remember thinking, like, how awkward has it, like, either that director's like, okay, Andy, now we're going to need you to walk to your coat rack. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yeah, let's do it again. Yeah, no, you're right. You can get better at walking to your coat rack. Okay. Now walk out of the door. I mean, again, this isn't The Godfather, right? This isn't like, Steven Spielberg with his rack focus where we're trying to make a dramatic statement about him looking inside of his coat or walking out of his door. It's literally just put the goddamn camera down, hit the red button, make sure it's in focus, and Andy Rooney's going to walk to his coat. And either these two have to be best friends that are just having a great time shooting these things, which I doubt because he'd always kind of look miserable in these B-rolls. He would look like he was being barked orders or trying to be explained that they had to do this by somebody that was like 30 years younger than him. X-Modem says your thoughts on the cotton in the pill bottles. It's not like they have cotton at the bottom of the pill bottles. Why only the top? I guess that's the difference between the Stossel and the... No, Stossel does the uptick too, right? After all, I'm John Stossel. Yeah, they both go up. Oh, my God. How long? I've done 13 minutes on Andy Rooney. 13 minutes on Andy Rooney. Is that the worst thing, though? What if I am? What if everybody discussed me as the millennials Andy Rooney? And I just discussed things that have changed. So I'll be, all right, here's my Andy Rooney. Here's my Andy Rooney thing. You ever notice that there's no more rock bands? After all, no, that's a Stossel thing. I mean, after all, you can't turn on rock radio anymore. Everybody that's touring now was touring when I was in college. It's as if my iPod's initial playlist has continued to thrive while all new replacements have withered on the vine and died. Now, was rock music so bad? I don't think so. It had a lot of things that I liked in music. Bass, drums, rhythm guitar. Let me walk to my coat. Probably there are worse things. There are definitely worse things to be than the millennials Andy Rooney. In fact, now I'm in love with this. Now I'm in love with now I'm holding on to this. I'm about this. I want to be the millennials Andy Rooney. What do you guys want to talk about? I will take requests. Who's here? Who wants to give something to I don't know why I'm so aggressive about this. I feel like I'm compensating. I feel injured in this, and now I need to wear it as my armor. And so that's why I'm getting really aggressive. Although it is funnier if I wear it like it's like a rapper's nickname, right? Yeah. I got a lot of names. Some of them, people call me to my face. I got names like JuRY, the Gerbs, the millennial Andy Rooney. Have you ever noticed that you can't call anybody anymore? Everybody wants to text, get your Twitter handle, slide into your DMs. But God forbid you pick up your phone and dial 9 digits. Well, at the other end, you're going to get somebody that's hurrying off the phone faster than Usain Bolt. That wasn't how it was in my day. No, we had landlines. The only way you were going to talk to your friend is if you waited by that one phone at the exact moment they decided. And boy, howdy, were you thrilled to get a phone call. Now, if it's not a Snapchat, anybody under 25 wants to shit in your hat. I'm the millennial Andy Rooney. Bye forever. And then I fall into a river of acid. What is this show? Oh, my God. Well, the good news is that I've been filling in for a very light schedule here today. A very light rundown. Okay, millennial Andy Rooney. Maybe this will play in. I wanted to do something. I was talking on the I was talking a little bit earlier in this segment before I went off for a solid 20 minutes about Andy Rooney. I had a conversation with Garrett Weinzer on his show, The Angry Nerd. I don't know if it's up yet. Hopefully it'll be up soon. Now, that conversation can be that conversation, but effectively it was about internet comments. And specifically iTunes reviews. Garrett got an iTunes review that he wasn't exactly fond of. He lashed out a little bit on Twitter, and I hit him back with the sage advice. Do you ever notice that your life is better when you don't read iTunes reviews? I didn't say it in that voice. I'm just trying to carry this shtick. MAR, millennial Andy Rooney. I just said, hey, man, don't read them. Like, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to read them. Anything, if you want to be a professional podcaster and you want to take it more seriously, then one of the things that you need to realize is that your will to podcast is the engine in which you are creating a career. And if you do not protect your engine, then you will have problems. So therefore, if you're doing anything that makes you less likely to want to podcast, then you should probably either reconsider how you do that thing or stop doing that thing at all. Part of where I've drawn my own personal idea about this is iTunes reviews. Because very early in my podcasting career, I got really bad iTunes reviews. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Number one, in the issues that I was talking about, people were there for things, not me, and very often I could come off as a distraction. So the two that we'll talk about are reviews for The Amazing Show, a show I did with James Randi. James Randi says that he did a podcast with Justin Robert Young. And the iTricks Magic Weekend Review. In both of those, people listened to the show because they were either into what James Randi had to say or they were into magic. So at a certain point, I just stopped reading them. I also have a fairly unhealthy relationship with iTunes reviews because I am very, very paranoid about asking for them because I'm afraid people are going to write negative things. And therefore, I am also paranoid that it is a sign that a podcast is dying if they don't come in frequently enough. So in general, I usually don't read them. I've just made a conscious effort to say I'm not going to read them. Now, I know that they help. There's something that is it very much helps your iTunes algorithm to have frequent reviews. And a lot of people, like Scott Johnson and Garrett and everything, like they do a very good job to cultivate a community where they reward people who write 5-star reviews. So that is all a preamble for me to say that I'm going to read my reviews. And we're specifically going to try to find the bad ones. All right, so right now on iTunes, the Justin Robert Young Show, the show that you are listening to right now, has 58 reviews. 58 reviews. That's pretty good. That ain't just whistling Dixie. It appears as if we have a 5-star rating. That's very nice. That makes me feel good about myself. But let's go ahead and see if we can't find something here. All right, let's scroll down. All right, here we go. Immediately. Customer reviews, 1 stars. Someone needs to get this guy off of iTunes. Chef Kiwi writes. Oh, here, let me pull it down here. Here we go. Chef Kiwi writes, the jury is in, and he's guilty of sucking. See, I'll tell you what. I thought this was going to be a lot more painful. I think I'm going to need to go to iTunes itself if I want to get more. Wait, do I not have iTunes on this computer? Ah, crap. All right. Well, here I'll have to just read them from the podcasting app, probably. Here we go. Because we need to sort these by 1-star reviews. I want to read my worst reviews. Yeah, Knots points out that someone needs to get this guy off of iTunes. The jury is in and he's guilty of sucking. Not exactly constructive criticism, but it's a funny joke. I mean, there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. So here we go. By and large, we got a lot of very positive stuff. Oh, I guess this goes from 2013. So here, I'm just gonna strip through here. A lot of 5 stars. It's very, very nice of everybody. Cole writes, February of this year, this podcast is a dive bar where the misfits of the internet gather to discuss the things we can't talk about anywhere else. Take a seat in the bar. You're always welcome. You can come to Justin, the bartender, with your words and your triumphs. He might be pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're all right by his. He'll make sure you don't die. You won't get any of this if you haven't listened to the show, but it's great. Okay, see, look, that's very, very nice. God damn it. It won't let me sort by the mean ones. Why won't it let me sort by the mean ones? Well, yeah, pointing out here, Harry Hardon makes good. JuRY is a high school student in the sleepy suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. He's a loner and outsider who uses his teenage angst and aggression in his unauthorized radio station. By day, JuRY is seen as a loner, hardly talking to anyone around him. By night, he expresses his outsider views about what's wrong with American society. When he speaks his mind, about what is going on at his high school and his community, more and more of his fellow students tune in to hear his show. I know. I sit right behind him in Mr. Feldman's 2 p.m. chemistry class. Go get him, JuRY. Wow. These really make me happy. I thought this was all going to be talking about things that are mean. I'll bet you I have negative ones in politics, though. This would be fucking obnoxious if I don't have. Am I really just gonna have to download iTunes? Because that's the only place that I'm gonna be able to read all of the reviews, right? All right, so we're gonna read. All right, we're downloading iTunes. It's gonna take a little bit. I wanted to read negative reviews. If somebody can go into iTunes and just post negative reviews in the chat, that'd be good. I don't really know what I want to accomplish here, other than to prove. I mean, I guess if I'm really going to psychoanalyze myself, the reason why I want to do this is because I am afraid, genuinely, of negative. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm not afraid of negative feedback. I very often get negative feedback. And I find negative feedback to be very, very important. It's an important part of the cycle of how things go. However, I am very, very terrified that I'm going to read somebody saying something that I know is true. Like, if somebody wrote a review that was like, Justin's energy is obviously down and he's getting less emails, that means that the show is dying. Like, I don't know that's true. I fear that that's true. I mentioned earlier that I know my energy's down. It's been a couple weeks since we've had a big. Actually, no, it hasn't really been that long. But since we had a big surge of emails and everybody wanted to email about one little thing. Well, I guess we just had that with the Proud First Impressed thing, right? Anyway. In my mind, I would be afraid of that criticism. I would crumble under that criticism. So I guess the reason why I want to do this is so I can prove that I'm better than that. That even if I read something that I know I'm afraid to read, that I can not be a scaredy pants. Effectively, and this is a seasonal analogy, it's like me and you, the darling listener and viewership, are my sweetheart. And I want to prove that I can go to the big, scary, haunted house and walk through and not be scared at all because I'm a big, tough man. That's what I am. Oh, yeah. I'm Sunbun says, I'm sorry to stroke your ego, but I only have one 1-star review. There are 2 1-star ratings and 1 1-star review. All right, what about politics then? What about politics? Does politics have it? There's got to be people who hate me with politics because they probably just hate the politics. Then hell, let's go read The Amazing Show's reviews. The Amazing Show, Justin Robert Young. Because I know these guys hated me. Amazing Show, iTunes, Randy. No. I know it's still up there. Man, this is a poorly planned out episode. This is a really poorly planned episode. For whatever reason, I thought I'd be able to sort the reviews here, but I don't think I am. I think, and I'm still, iTunes, for the record, is 13 minutes away. Phil. Oh, I can check my tweets. Okay, here we go. Nice. Okay, all right. This is for politics. 1-star reviews for politics. I'm always on the hunt, loud and cringeworthy. I'm always on the hunt for a good political podcast, so browsing, I found this one and thought to give it a try. I was put off about how loud and obnoxious the whole thing is. The guy gives his uninformed opinion about subjects, all while trying and failing to make it funny. I tried. I really tried. I wanted to like this podcast, yet I can't seem to stop myself from cringing. Ew. That was on September of 2016. So recently, right? Yeah. All right. So how does this make me feel? This is good. This is good. This is a good segment. Okay, here we go. Let me bring this up here. How does this make me feel? I really don't feel all that bad reading this. Just because I really don't respect the adjective cringe. Like, if he describes something as awkward, like he has an awkward style, because it's a one mic show, I could understand that. But cringe, I think, is a really bad. I think it's a cheap adjective. It reminds me of like crazy or extreme or on steroids. Like, those are very, very, very empty phrases that are there to have a. They're more for people reading it than they are for people. I just think it carries a lot of heat that doesn't necessarily symbolize a lot. Like, am I cringeworthy because I say things that are awkward? Am I cringeworthy because I deliver it in an awkward style? I don't know. I think you're just trying to say that I'm better than this person and I feel awkward listening to him. So I don't really, and that's fine. He can have that opinion, but I don't particularly feel bad about that. Let's see if this one makes me feel bad. This one came in from May of 2016. This is a 3-star review, mostly fat, little meat. I listened to about 3 episodes. There's nothing but self-promotion and idle chit-chat for at least the first 3 minutes, like a sports radio DJ who has to stretch last night's ball game into an hour-long show. This is pretty light on substance, long on saying the same thing 3 different ways. The guy needs to listen to somebody like Dan Carlin, who knows that listeners' time is valuable. Unsubscribed. Well, all right. This is something that I like. I like this because this is somebody saying that in May of this year, I was not as good as Dan Carlin, and I could stand. What I'm taking from this is I could stand to be better prepared, and in the increasing lessons that I have to learn about one mic radio, I got to get to the point and move on. I can't just repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I can't just keep one point and then thinking that if I add pauses or pitch changes that I'm making a different point. Because if I just say the same thing, even if it's in a weird voice, over and over and over again, it's really just the same point repeated over and over and over again. And I'm not respecting the listener's valuable time. Not respecting it. Because again, I've just said the thing. And now I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. A sign of a rookie one mic podcaster. Not like Dan Carlin. Unsubscribed. Unsubscribed. Wait, is that it? Are those the worst reviews I have? Because I know Politics has more. Politics has 380 ratings at 4.5 stars. Everything else is 5 stars. Maybe I'm good. Am I good? Cosine does point out that Dan Carlin's podcasts are 3 hours long. And I'm sure they're great. I've never listened to Dan Carlin because I'm afraid to. But yeah, only 5 reviews at 3 stars and lower, and we just read 2 of them. What's the third one? Can someone tweet me the third one? I would like to read it. I don't know what the point of this is, by the way. This is definitely me wasting your time. I guess I wanted to read reviews and let you know an element of vulnerability, because I'm terrified of these. I'm not kidding. Like, it's something that I don't. Maybe I should look at them more. Maybe I'm realizing now I'm ignoring a gold mine. I should look at my reviews. This changes everything. I've ran away from them, expecting them to hurt me. Next thing you know, I've just got a bed of singing flowers, like it's some cartoon from the 50s. Like those kind of bouncing daisies who have like a little ukulele in their hands. Oh, here we go. Finally. T2T2 hit me with a link. Yeah, customer reviews. Loud and cringeworthy. Yeah. These are all really nice. These are all just like really nice reviews, you guys. No, check the reviews at Podcast Pickle. What the hot hell is a podcast pickle? Let's go ahead and look. All right. Podcast repairman. Wait, so what? Should I just search? Somebody link me. Check the Alta Vista guest book. Podcast. All right, whatever. I don't know what a podcast pickle is. I'm not. All right. You want to know what? I learned a lesson. Along with all of you, I've learned a lesson here today. The lesson is that I need to get over this. This is an unfounded fear of mine. I need no. So everybody's saying, that you need to yell insults at me. You don't need to. If you want to, that's fine. That's cool. I would like whatever makes you happy. I'm on board with. This is just me realizing. Here's how I thought this was going to go. I thought that I was going to read a couple of reviews that would largely be like that cringeworthy one. Because normally, if I get hit, here's what people used to say about the Amazing Show. That I was annoying, that I was a distraction, that I laughed too much, that I didn't add anything to the show, and my voice was annoying, and that I needed to clear out and let James Randi just talk. Now, what they didn't realize was that James Randi was not going to do the show unless I called him and scheduled a time and then showed up. He would not think of basically the whole idea of that show. And I'll tell you what, we should definitely find that somewhere, because I liked the idea. The whole idea of the show was that if you hang around with James Randi for long enough, he's gonna have these insane stories. He's got these crazy stories that he'll just drop out of nowhere. And we wound up getting a bunch of them out of him, and like the idea for Andrew and I was like, all these stories just need to be somewhere, because Randy at some point, like all of us, ain't gonna be around, and he's lived such a full life that he's got to get some of this down. So it's like the show wouldn't happen. If anybody was like, hey, Randy's great, but this asshole needs the GTFO, the show wouldn't have happened unless I was there talking to him. That was the whole context for everything. And so I got frustrated. Now we're seeing where the crux of my adversarial relationship with iTunes reviews comes in. Meanwhile, for the iTricks Magic Weekend review, people would knock me for being too professional. That I sounded too much like a radio DJ. You know, there ain't really a whole lot you could do, right? Like, there's not really, I mean, you know, I was definitely probably leaning more on that aesthetic at the time because I didn't know what the hell else to do. You just sound like the people on the radio. It's not like I had a podcaster inside of me that was telling me exactly what to do. I was just making my way in the world. Takes everything you got. The iTricks Magic Weekend review has 5 5-star reviews and no other reviews. Maybe it wasn't in iTunes. Maybe it was in other Magic forums then. Is The Amazing Show still there? Did I invent all of this? Is this entire segment built on a faulty memory that I had that people didn't like me on the internet? Am I the most universally loved human on the internet? Am I the only person that doesn't get negative iTunes reviews? Oh. Francis says Magic Forums. The Magic Cafe. That's all you need to know. Go take a look, kids. Enjoy all there is to see at the Magic Cafe. Oh, man. All right. Well, let's just get it. I mean, gee, I feel like kind of a chode. What kind of ending to this segment is this? This was supposed to be a self-depreciating segment where I just read negative things about myself. I'll find it. I'll find people that don't like me. I swear to God. Kosai writes, I for one love The Amazing Show, but why didn't you ever show up at TAM? I was at TAM 3, I think. And then I never really went back, just for timing and money, And also, the TAM had this nasty habit of, TAM, for those of you who aren't in the know, it was the amazing meeting. It was a fantastic convention put on by the James Randi Educational Foundation. But TAM had a nasty habit of just booking the same 5 people over and over again. And I saw all those 5 people, and I kind of kept waiting for there to be a time when there would be new people, and they just never showed up there. Fitz said read YouTube comments. There's some salt there, most likely. Yeah, I guess, I've never really even taken YouTube comments all that seriously. Like, they've never hurt me. iTunes reviews, at least I assumed there was. Apparently, I've made all of this up in my head. But iTunes reviews were something that I felt very self-conscious about. I felt that they were speaking a larger truth about myself. Kosai says, are you criticizing Tam for saying the same things over and over and over again? 3 times, perhaps, like someone might say about politics? I mean, it's the same point. Okay, not a different point. Repeated again. Not respecting people's time. Unsubscribed. Again. All right. Let's go ahead and get to your emails. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Actually, before we get to that, let me just give a big shout out. I had a great weekend of visitors. We had Willie Dills Gregory in town, and he's here for a wedding, but I was talking to him, and he has just exploded with his Twitch channel. That is twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. Very, very, very proud of him. maybe new things on the horizon. And I hung out today with Chad and Cheeto, who are in town for the Mindcrack, a big, long charity thing. And, man, I just want to, there's no larger point here, but oh, crap, now we're at that point. We're at the proud versus impressed point. I'm impressed. No, I'm so just grateful to be friends with all of them. Chad and I kind of had a moment today where we're like, hey, like we kind of caught a wave. That's pretty cool. I mean, Chad bought a house on internet money. Bought a huge house. You don't even know what to do with the rooms. Like that's amazing. That's amazing. And Cheeto's doing great, and Willie's doing great. I just want to say to everybody, man, that I think that they are fantastic, and everybody, should go pay attention to them. I mean, I think they're both probably by the numbers more popular than me on every level, but I love them, and I want everybody to know that I love them. Let's get into our emails. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Again, JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Some of these are a little old. I dug back because my inbox is just a gangbang right now. So I'm trying to clear everything out and just get to all these good emails that were written a couple months ago. But here we go. Kavo writes, on a recent episode of the JuRY Show, you mentioned a woman who identified individuals by their fantasy race. I had a manager once who did a similar thing for everyone we worked with. His twist is that he used the race, gnome, dwarf, elf, human, and class, wizard, bard, barbarian, to group coworkers on tasks. For instance, he identified me as a human wizard, no special racial trait, but solving problems with a collection of spells. I think a random woman in the airport is correct that you might be a gnome. This was not a random woman at an airport. This was a stripper at Vixen's in Fort Lauderdale. Unincorporated Fort Lauderdale. Maybe Davie. I'm not sure where the property lines. Moving on. The stripper was correct that you might be a gnome, looking for new, shiny, interesting things with what fits for a father of Dr. Bird, Cooper, and Milo. And your class is probably a bard, able to talk your way into or out of anything with a bonus of extroversion can cover. Because of what other races and classes could pull off a Charmander onesie. With great respect, since we've never landed on a solid proud of you replacement. Well, thank you very, very much. I'll tell you what, I want everybody, Club Vixens isn't Davie, shout out to Club Vixens. I want everybody who emails to identify themselves, do yourself a favor, and this week, homework, figure out who you are in gnome, dwarf, elf, human, and what your class is, wizard, bard, or barbarian. And then I want you to think about everybody around you and see what they are. And then we'll all share our results. Abby writes, I know you said not to write in response to your latest episode, but you're going to have to deal with it. Something you said jumped out at me, a term you used, thinking that people were possibly seeing you as a stepping stone. There was a brief moment when I thought, quote, well, crap, that sounds like me and how our interactions have played out. I wanted to write you to say that you are forever one of the biggest inspirations for me getting into podcasting. You facilitated me starting my own show, and later on you facilitating the hatting of the system, not directly, of course, which helped me win a podcast award. Even though I only get to hang out with you for an average of a couple hours per year, I still think you're awesome, and I think of you as a friend. Thanks for that. You're pretty cool. Well, thanks, Abby. No, I mean, this is from an episode a couple weeks ago where I talked about my own self-loathing and how I have a weird interaction with friends sometimes that I assume all my friends hate me and that they think the worst possible version of my intentions are. But no, of course not, Abby. Of course, I don't think that about you. I think that about, I think you think bad about me. I don't think anything bad. I think everybody around me is a beautiful, pure being of light. I am the only pile of accumulated human sin. Don't try to take that away. It's my bit. But no, anybody who wants, go listen to Abby's podcast, Diary of a Trans Woman. Nick writes, just getting home from the Carnegie Library here in constantly overcast Syracuse. As I was listening to JuRY on my walk home down Euclid Avenue, I took a look at stickers or DIAF and came across a video of you burning your face. The guy you did it with totally just downplayed it in front of the camera, and I thought it was weird. Time to smoke some pot and go to bed and get ready for another collegiate fun-filled weekend. Please, more Syracuse stories. And also, I actually go to ESF after transferring from SU in the freshman year. All right, well, Nick, cheers to anybody who is there in the, Winterfell up in Syracuse. Winter is indeed coming, although it's for them, it's probably there already. All right, Syracuse story. It relates to ESF. For those of you who guys don't know, ESF, SUNY ESF, State University of New York, Environmental Science and Forestry, is physically on the Syracuse University campus. Syracuse University is a private school, meaning that it costs a lot more. SUNY ESF is a public school. So if you are, especially if you're a state resident of New York, you can go fairly cheaply. And also, because of the agreement that Syracuse University and ESF have, you can take classes in either of the two. I mean, to a limited degree. But ultimately, your degree is going to be either from ESF or from Syracuse. Bling, blang, bloom. ESF kids, I think it would be safe to say, have a little bit of an inferiority complex. And I don't blame them, because a lot of the kids that go to Syracuse are dicks. They come from places where dicks are grown, like Long Island. ESF kids have a quad. It's a smaller quad than the SU quad, but they are fierce about it. They will not let anybody walk on it. The quad is to remain unsullied. If you accidentally and absent-mindedly walk through it, you are liable to get yelled at by an ESFer. Now, I largely had a very, very positive interaction with ESF students when I was in Syracuse. I liked them. They had the best drug dealers. They're from places where drug dealers are grown, like Long Island. Except for one night. One night I had a problem, man. I had a house party, and for whatever reason, I was collecting all the money that people were paying to get into the house party and a Bible. I kept a Bible behind a bar that was already in the place where I was living. So like any college house party, at some point, some people brings two friends, and they bring two friends, and they bring two friends. And you got a lot of strangers that you ain't never met before running all around your house. Two of these people were from ESF. Certain point, the night gets a little hazy. Everybody retreats to their bedrooms and goes to sleep. I woke up and realized that I had left all the money in the Bible, went to the Bible, and it was gone. I determined that the only people that would have been within range to steal the Bible money was the ESF kids. At which point, I was consumed with anger. I was also consumed with a hangover from the party the night before. I was crouched over, miserable, cursing the ESF kids. It was at that point that I realized that I was unironically Gollum. I was very upset. And at that point, I just kept calling ESF kids hobbits. And by and large, they were very, very kind to me, except for those two. If anybody knows them, holler at me, because they owe me like $40. Sean writes, Sean here again with my lunchtime insights. I too have several events in my life that can trigger an anxious state. And while most still exist uncontrolled, there's one I've improved upon over the last few years. Here's a little backstory. My mom was habitually late to through all of my childhood and led to many embarrassing moments of ruling plans with friends and family and much strife between me and my mother, who would just slow down more when you tried to rush her. This anxiety of being late to anything has carried through the rest of my life, and I'm very sensitive to set schedules and punctuality, and have been known to get into a horrid, snippy mood when a set time is missed or even threatened to be missed. But over the past 4 years, I've found the love of my life, and while I love her with all my soul, her family is the embodiment of lateness and destroyed plans. For example, one year I was told we'd be leaving for Thanksgiving at 10 a.m. sharp. I arrived at 9:45 and proceeded to wait until 2 p.m. when we finally left. That's egregious. This was not a good day for me, but over time I've learned to accept that I can't control her family, and I just have to be planned for waiting till the family is ready and have activities to distract myself till they get rolling. I hope I can work on my many other sensitivities over time, but I thought you'd like hearing about this tiny success. Always love the show as it's the highlight of my boring day stamping Frisbees with logos. Damn, that's a job, homie. Thank you very, very much, Sean. Yeah, you would not be friends with me. I am late. I am a late man. Jason writes, your section in JuRY about anxiety made me think about the attached screenshot, and he has a screenshot that shoots up. This is a shot of my heart rate almost 2 weeks ago. It creeps up as I'm contemplating turning in my 2 weeks notice and spikes at its highest points as I close the door to my boss's office and sit down to speak with him. Letting down the boss at work is my biggest source of anxiety. Anytime I've messed up, I get stuck with the amazing enveloping fear cloud that threatens to choke me. I think it's a measure of brain chemistry, luck of the raw that it is not debilitating. I can look back at the successes and know that their view of me is the sum total of what I've done and isn't determined fully by my most recent action. As a side note, this recent spike was worse because of how it echoed a past bad event. My current boss, through an odd series of events, is the same guy who was my boss almost 4 years ago. I tried to do right by him in transition, thinking that they'd appreciate it, and said they conjured up a reason to fire me 2 weeks into that month. That would have really left me in a lurch had my new company not let me start earlier than expected. The good news is you made the right choice when it came to the employment. Waffleophagus will bring us home by writing, okay, you had a crazy dream? I think I can top it. Austin, Texas is nuked. I somehow survive. My internal logic being that I'm in the suburbs. So in an attempt to go live with the family since my new home of Austin is destroyed, I tried to get a ticket, but the only ticket to Huntsville, Alabama had a layover in Moscow, as in Russia. So I take it. And while I'm in Moscow, it's also nuked. And somehow I make it back to where my family is, but they're at my uncle's house, and somehow it's a family reunion. Tons of cars are there. And I'm somehow in a new car, which I bought this month. And somehow there's a crack in the window shield, very much like my old car had for many years. Also, somehow I'm both sick and not sick from the fallout of being in close proximity to multiple nuclear explosions. And there's a lingering thought in the back of my mind that both of the bombs that exploded within close proximity of me. Is someone trying to kill me with a nuke? And if so, how the hell have they failed twice? It's about that time that I woke up wondering, WTF.
What do you say we both just leave?
If you would like to email the show, it is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. JuRY in the subject line. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, and the Snapchat. My Snapchat is lit, bro. Go ahead and hit me up, Justin R. Young. Hashtag join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. And you want to know what? What do you say you go leave an iTunes review, huh? Huh? You ever notice you can leave an iTunes review? Folks, I love shows like this because they are as freewheeling as they are. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Until next time, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young reminding you to please don't.
Do you like when your friends fuck up? Don't you think you have had enough?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.